See, that's what I'm going to call this. Here we go, guys. You need to be comfortable with two concepts. I will call this the, right? If you see a straight line, anywhere you cut it, it's 180 degrees from end to end. If you see something slicing it up, right? These are called supplementary, meaning they add up to 180. Okay, you should be thinking 180 there. If you see something like this, right, at like a corner somehow, where you know this is 90 and that's being sliced up. So if this is 20, we know that this is 70, right? So this is what I call complementary, and this is supplementary. Okay, so you gotta, that's a concept. That's like, it's just gonna pop up. You're gonna see it's like, I can't solve it right now, but hey, wait a minute, there's that angle outside. I wonder what I can do, right? So here we go, like you should be thinking, okay, right, do that. If this is 135, then that's 45. And how did I find out? I subtract that from 180. But some of you, right, you gotta make sure you know how to read an angle. DEF, right? You start here, DEF. So it's these two sides that make that angle right here. Okay, so that's DEF right there. And angle DEF is found by going 180 minus 135. That's 45 degrees. So you get a mark for that. Okay, that's it. Now you have an angle inside the triangle. They want side DF, which is M. So side angle side, you're going to use cosine law. So make sure you mark this. You can copy everything down, but if you, right, like if you didn't do it, make sure it's with a pen or something, right? Or you let me know right up front, like I didn't do this, I'm just writing this down, because I'll give it back to you, right? So calculate the length of DF. I called it M, so M squared is 25.8 squared plus 33.4 squared minus 2 times 25.8, 33.4 cosine of 45. If you plug all of that in, all of this in, you get 562.54. Remember, that's not the answer yet. Okay, that continues. This is your answer, 2372. And we are in inches. So there we go. That's your final answer. How are you going to get 3 marks out of this one? If you pick cosine law, if I see cosine law, you got 1 mark. If you show me the work, you get 1 mark, and then 1 mark for final answer. You don't have to have the SAS. If I just see you using cosine law, that's good enough for me. Okay. Next. Okay, Amrinder takes his boat out for a spin and is heading towards a cliff. He notices that Dwayne Johnson is standing at the top of the hill. Amrinder takes the estimates the angle of elevation is 50 degrees. So at the very beginning, right here, it's 50 degrees. It makes sense. Amrinder continues to travel another 200 yards, so gets closer to the cliff and to take a better look. And now the angle of elevation is 70 degrees. I just want to stop here. Does that make sense that it would be bigger here, the angle? The closer you get to something, the higher up you look, right? So keep that in mind. Because sometimes there is no diagram and you need to know where would you put it, right? If you ever come across something like that, it would only make sense to put the bigger one closer to the tree or cliff or whatever. All right. Look at the diagram below. Determine the value of ABD. Let's give that a color. Where's that one located? I'm going A, B, and D. So I'm connecting these points here. So that is ABD right there. I would suggest you have a highlighter or something to help you out. I'm just saying. So ABD is going to be, right, These are supplementary here. Like you can do this if you want. Make that hat, right? Connecting the straight angle here. So it's 180 minus 70. So that's 110 degrees. So you can write that in here, 110. Okay. So you get a mark for that one. And then the next one is ADB. I'm going to give that a different color. So ADB, you read it, ADB. ADB. So it's that angle that's created right here. Okay. So angle ADB is now there's another 180. So watch out for this one. It's 180 again, but now I'm using the property that inside a triangle, those angles add up to 180. So I go 180 minus this angle minus the other angle I found. Some students find it weird, like you only subtracted one angle here, and then you subtracted two angles there. Like, what's up with that? This is a straight angle. Straight angle. This is sum of triangles equal to 180. I'm using different properties. What do you get here? 20? Yeah, 20 degrees. So you get another mark for that one. So I know I'm taking my time here. I'm using it as a lesson at the same time, all right? So there we go. I like highlighters. I don't know about you. Okay. I don't need highlighters. I do it for you. The highlight of my day is when I go home and see my wife. Right? That's the highlight of my day. So I don't need highlighters. The distance between Amrinder and the first Amrinder's first location A and Dwayne. Call this side X. So the first location is right here, and this is where the rock is, right? So this is side X. Let's call that X. That's what I want to find. Oh, and let's write in the 20. Why not? I am actually a big fan of writing stuff in because then you see it. It's visual. What am I going to use there to solve that one? Brave volunteers? Sine law? You were going to say that? Okay, thank you. So 20 meets 200. I don't like that too much. I try to stay away from that on a test. 20, 200, you might mix that up. But anyways, it happens. So sine, yes, sine of 20 over 200 yards. Remember, one is an angle, one is a distance. And if you want to find x, you got to use 110. Don't use 70. If you use 70, you're finding this. You're trying to find that side across 70. 110. Okay, so sine of 110 is over x. You cross multiply and divide. I know my cross multiplying and dividing is different than what you've seen before, but it works. And it works. It's simple. Okay. Multiply and divide. You get 549.50, and that's in yards. 549.50 is the answer. 3 marks again. I would say sine law, you get 1 mark. You get 1 mark for the work and 1 mark for the correct final answer. It's a bit tight there, but hey. Calculate the height of the cliff. Call this side H. Okay, so watch what I'm going to do here. This is the theme for today. I'm going to continue with this today. I found this, correct? So I'm going to draw the big triangle here, where the 50 is here. This I just found. And there's more than one way of doing this. So if you did it a different way, don't erase it. You just did it a different way. It's fine. Okay. So I have my pair here. And this 50 is going to allow me to solve for H here. And you might ask me, could you have found this side here and then use this triangle? Absolutely. But I already did the work. I always tell my students, find one of the slants. Slant is like an angle, right? One of those, and then you can find your height. So I'm going to go sine of 90 over 549.50, and then I'm going to use sine of 50 over H. Cross multiply and divide. Okay, 549, 50. And this is just sine of 90 is just 1. So you end up with 420.94 yards. Why just 2 marks? Because with height, it's always going to be sine law, most likely. So I'm going to give you 1 mark for setup and work, 1 mark for the correct final answer. If you made a mistake up here, right, and you use that side here, of course you will get a different answer. You would not be losing marks again for D. Okay, you don't lose more than 1. Yeah. Question? Did you get the same answer? Okay, then can I talk to you later? You're probably right. Yeah. If you did it a different way, I don't care. It's gonna happen with these ones where you have multiple triangles. It's just a fact. Okay. All right. So this page is out of, let's see here. 2 and 3 is 5, and 2 is 7, 10, and 1 is 11. So this page is 11. Got it? Okay. Question 3. Ship leaves a port, travels 42 miles as depicted below. So I want you to read and also look at your diagram. So you start here, you travel there, and naturally you be turning, right? Because it says then it travels another 35 miles going this way, right? So you your journey is like this and like this if you want to like trace it back, like you went like this and this. So the turn is right there. And everything is already in there. You don't need to like add any numbers right now, okay? Determine the value of angle Y. You're like, thank goodness, just 1 letter, right? The 3-letter notation is what bothers some of you. So angle Y is right here. I will find that out. What does that look like? You're like, oh, Mr. Dirksen, look. Don't do this right now. Look. I'm just going to go 180 minus 55, and then I get Y, right? And you're like, the 55 is only here, right? It doesn't go all the way, so that doesn't work. The 180 doesn't work here. Instead, we're going to use the 90. Yeah, there's a big 90 here if you want to look at it that way. Okay, there's a big 90 there, so these are complementary. Yeah, I've never seen an angle that big before, have you? Hey, you want me to go even bigger? There we go. Okay, it's still 90, right? Like it doesn't matter. So angle Y is 90 minus 55. Okay, so we're good there. Just making sure, yeah, that's 35 degrees. 1 mark for that. Who would have thought, eh? 35. So that's when you put the 35 in here. Now you have that angle inside. Perfect. Okay. What am I going to use here? Sine law again, right? 35 degrees, 35 miles right across from it. So chances are, yeah, and again, I have to change this question because this is just setting you up for failure almost. Except for, yeah, it wouldn't really make a whole, like 35, 35, it should be all right. So I've locked my pair in. This 42 allows me to solve for that angle, correct? So I'm going to go, oh, I have to be careful. 42 goes here. And up there, I'm going to go sine of x, right? This angle here. And you still cross multiply and divide. Don't worry about the sign and all that. Those are just numbers, just like you've learned in your other grades. So this times this divided by 35. I hope I get a 0 out of that. and I get 0.68, and that keeps going. So angle X is sine inverse of 0.68. That gives me 43.50 degrees. You get 1 mark for using sine law, 1 mark for the work. I would expect you to have the inverse there somewhere. And then 1 more mark for the correct final answer with degrees, everything there. So if you miss degrees ever or units, take off half a mark. Just once per page. Don't take off more, but still tell yourselves, I missed it, right? Okay, keep going. The angle at the turning point. So we want this, right? This. Angle T, if you want to call it. Angle T, what is that? Well, this one is only worth 1 mark. I don't know if you noticed that. That should be a giveaway. So I'm going to go 180 minus the 35, right? Minus this 35, minus the second angle that I found. Okay. And you get 101.50. So there it is. Calculate the distance, that's just 1 mark. Calculate the distance between the start and the final destination. So this one here. We should call that, I don't know, call it K. Right, so I'm going to call that K. So you want to use cosine law, anybody? Let's use cosine law. I think we need to review that. So side angle side up here. So I'm going to go K squared is 35 squared plus 41 squared minus 2 times 35 times 41 times cosine of 101.5, right? This angle right here. And that gives you root of, what's that? Oh yeah, okay. Thank you. Okay. If you type this in, I'm pretty sure this is still okay. Yeah, my key has this as 42. So K would be 5979 miles. 3 marks again. I would give you 1 for cosine law, 1 for the work, and 1 for the final answer. Questions? Elliot, is it for all of us, or ask if you don't mind. Oh, so you got these right, just not the right angle? Let's go -1. Question? Did you get about the same? Sure. Yeah. 59.80? Yeah? Okay, I'm going to make a note here for myself on my key here. 59.80 if you use sine law. Yeah, that's fine. No problem. Absolutely, because maybe I should say one more time. Once you solved for one missing thing, now you actually have options. Because as soon as you solve for either an angle or a side, you have a pair. And then you go sine law only. Yeah, so if you want to stick with sine law, absolutely. You could have actually made it look exactly the same here. Use that pair. And then if I want to find this side, I got to go sine of 101.50 over K and then get the same answer. Can I say another thing? Some students mentioned it seems like most of the time it's sine law. Yes. Remember I showed you three ways that you can use the sine law, 3 triangles, and there's only 2 for cosine law? So 5 different scenarios, 3 work with sine law, 2 work with cosine law. So you're gonna have most of your scenarios with sine law. Here we go. Last but not least, good old vehicle finance. A 3-year lease, so that's 36 months. That's probably good to mention. $225 a month, $2,000 down. The MSRP is this, so that's the original value of the car. The lease has a guaranteed residual value of $15,700. Calculate the cost of the lease. Total lease would be your down plus your payment times 1.12 times 36. There's no mileage here. So that is basically it. 2,000 plus this part. Oh, I don't have it on this key because I wasn't gonna. I have it somewhere. So this is 9,072. Add 2,000 to it. That'd be 11,072. That would be 2 marks if you added taxes to your payment. You only add taxes to your payment. You don't seem so sure. Did I make a mistake? Did you get a different final? The taxes, you went this times 36.
Maybe I just couldn't.
As long as you get the same answer, I'm just going to assume you did it right. I don't know what happens, right? Just make sure you don't add these two and then add taxes to the down payment, because that's a no-no. Okay, the cost of buying the vehicle at the end of the, what is this one called? The buyout, do you remember that term? They want the buyout. So in this case, the buyout is 15,700. Remember, you had to find a percentage of the MSRP before, 65%, 70%, whatever. You don't need to do that. You just take the guaranteed residual value, slap taxes on it, because it's from the dealership, right? 17,584 is what you're supposed to get there. That's just buying it out. Total purchase price of the car, brand new after tax. Assume there's a $6,000 trade-in. So this is when you use this formula, new. You take the 34,200 minus the trade-in. You add 12% taxes to that. 28,200 times 1.12. That's your sticker, right? The MSRP. There are no options, nothing like that. So that's basically your sticker price. 31,584 is the cost after. Justify why somebody would choose to lease a car rather than financing. You can say lower payments. Always a new car. I'm paraphrasing. Safer, because if you always have a new car, then you're always with the latest safety features, right? Lower maintenance costs because you're always on warranty. If you're a business owner, there are tax write-off incentives because your payment can be written off as a business owner. So let's see here. 2, 4, 6, 7 for this one. So just this car part is 7. 3 and 1, that's 4, 7, 8. 8 for the top part for question 3. So 8 and 7. 8 and 7 on the back side is 15 already. So just the back side is 15. So do that at the bottom of that page. And then the front page, what did I do? Oh, here. And then the front page is 11, right? So what are we at? 26? 26. It's almost like a test. But remember, you got to take this home, right? So name and last name. Put your names on both papers. We'll try to keep them together. I'll staple them